It's your man Delvin. Welcome to Delvin's Room. And today I want to talk to y'all about a team that was on the cusp of greatness, but due to being in that Michael Jordan era, they're one of the greatest forgotten teams of all time. Yes, I'm talking about the 96-97 Atlanta Hawks, a team that had four All-Stars on the team. The team that had Dikembe Mutombo, who finished top 10 in MVP voting that year. A team that was 56-26, but lost to the Chicago Bulls in the conference semifinals. The team was led by Dikembe Mutombo, Defensive Player of the Year that year. Also had the three-point shooting Mookie Blaylock. They had the great small forward of Christian Laettner, and they had the best scorer on their team, Steve Smith. Now, Steve Smith was an all-star. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He got a championship with the Spurs. Mookie never got one. Unfortunately, Laettner never got one, and Mutombo never got one. But that 96-97 Atlanta Hawks team had it in them to win it. But they was in that Jordan era, man. And that Jordan era was different, bro. Jordan was not allowing players to win it at all, bro. But you got to think, a team nowadays, if you got four players that's possible all-stars, that's a championship team right there, right? Mookie Blaylock at the point guard, he could shoot the three, he could get you 20, he could get you 30 on a good night. Steve Smith, he was giving Michael Jordan some of his best work. Michael Jordan was talking about his rivalries with Steve Smith. So Smith was nothing to be played with. But it was just one of those things, man, where, yeah, you great, but you going up against that Bulls team, man. Now, just for the nostalgic fact, them jerseys was beautiful. Them Atlanta Hawks jerseys in the 90s was amazing, right? The crowd for Atlanta wasn't always showing up back then. I guess, Atlanta's still a team that never won a championship, so they had that problem. Lenny Wilkens was the coach, and Lenny Wilkens was a pretty good damn coach. I remember Lenny Wilkens. He was a great coach in my opinion. Just a victim of the time, just a victim of that Jordan era, man. They got Dikembe in the off season. They felt like he was the piece that was missing. And they was right to a certain extent, because they went from being, a team that nobody was really paying attention to the year prior to being one of the hottest teams in the league. After the All-Star break, they went 31-15. Even posted a 7-game winning streak. So everybody was on high alert. Even in January, they had a nice run of 14-2 with a 10-game winning streak. They was one of the best defensive teams in the league. But it was just that goddamn Michael Jordan, man. I mean, you had Steve Smith averaging 20. You had Laettner averaging 18. You had Mookie Blaylock averaging 17. Dikembe was giving you 13, 10, and 3 blocks. You feel me? And he was shutting down teams that coming through that paint. This was a great team. This is one of those teams that, if they didn't possibly play in that Jordan era, we're talking about a great team. We're talking about possibly a championship team. Now, they would have had to go through the Miami Heat that year. The Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic was both still threats. You know what I'm saying? Those teams were still threats. But at the same time, they had what they needed. Because Mutombo was going to give Shaq his best. You know what I'm saying? And now, he was going to give Shaq his best. Blaylock was going to give Penny Hardaway some trouble. If they would have played the Heat, Mutombo versus Alonzo, that would have been a good one. And let's just say they would have went to the championship and played against the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz versus Atlanta. That's, that would have been something special to watch. I think, just my personal opinion, I've never seen the Atlanta Hawks that close to a championship, I mean, because they had a championship team. They had players that was hungry, but it was just that Michael Jordan era, bro. Jordan was just a problem, Jordan still had a lot to prove. Jordan really stopped a lot of people from winning, a lot that year. But the Atlanta Hawks, I have to say this: the Atlanta Hawks fans, they didn't show up really that year. The Atlanta Hawks finished 27 in home game attendance. That was the third lowest of the regular season, so the fans didn't show up. But this team is one of those teams. It's just what if, man? What if it wasn't in the Jordan era? We could be talking about a championship team.